Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Broken by Concept, episode 51. This one's obviously going to be a lot worse than the last one because we had Patrick, and that was a high point.
Can't top it, right?
Can't top that one.
So
that's a high point of our career.
Is episode 50 your favorite podcast episode?
It was the most satisfying, I would say.
Got it.
Because it was like, all right, people have executed upon what we've said, and I love execution. We love execution. I would say satisfying. I wouldn't say fun. I don't think that's the right word. Satisfying.
Did people in the community say that they found it helpful?
Yeah, a lot of people found it interesting, even if they weren't even younger guys in my community who were 18, 19, even 17-year-old kids being like, yeah, I thought that was a really great episode. So props to Patrick again. Thank you for that one.
Is there any other episodes that you stand out to you, or is all the episodes just a blur to us at this point?
I love the Soloq contract one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a very good one.
And then I guess our ranked guide.
Ranked guide was a great one.
That was a good one.
I think the Christmas special one was awesome as well.
Was that cool?
I like
what was
that
special
one.
about that? Was it because we had the Santa
suits?
suits?
But we did a lot of questions, right?
Yeah, that was the mailbag one.
Yeah, I love that. I like the mailbag episodes.
The Jono episode.
That was a banger.
A lot of people like that one. Look, I have someone, I'm looking at my Broken by Concept channel.
Yep.
Philip says, Jono episode was the best episode of BBC, and I relate so much to Patrick's journey from silver to gold. Many of the things he said he did, I was like, holy shit, I did the exact same thing. And he actually, because he played Olaf, the same situation as him.
Right, a lot of people in your community would have loved that because it's like jungle.
Yeah, it was more
and he was a
jungle
jungler.
specific. What was the other one? There was another good one here. Jesse said, this week was the ultimate beginner's guide to League of Legends. Talking about, he viewed the last episode as a beginner's guide to, I think it is a really good, if you were to send that to a beginner.
Yeah, that is true.
I think that's actually really good. That's like maybe a different way we could have titled it and framed it.
That is true, actually. I didn't think of it like that.
He says, with an information-only video, you would not convince anyone. But now beginners can see what the process looks like and what it works, what you did well. So it's like, I think what he's trying to say there is that there's no like your educational video and stuff. You gotta like look up to someone. Like what did their journey relate? You sort of need someone to relate to the journey.
You know what's never been done?
What's that?
So I watched a like a fitness transformation journey.
Yeah.
And this guy literally, I think I sent it to you. He was recorded his journey from age.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Was it 15
what's his
or something?
name again?
That Clarence Kennedy guy.
Yeah.
He literally recorded his progression from, was it 15, 13 or something like that to, I don't know what he is now, late 20s. And he literally recorded everything and documented it. Boom, this is proof. This is where I was. Boom, this is where I was. And then like where he is now. That hasn't been done in League, has it?
No. God, I wish I did that when I first climbed to Challenger.
No, but even when we first started, imagine if for some reason one of us just recorded all of our games.
Yeah.
Even though recording games wasn't even a thing back then.
Yeah.
And you just had this huge library. Okay, this was me, what I was playing. This you could even play the same matchup. Like how it was played. Oriana versus X, Syndra, season 3, 4, 5, and like literally how it's changed. You could see the movements, everything. That would be cool. That doesn't exist. There's no like gym body transformation equivalent of that in League.
No, there's not. Maybe I wonder if I search it up. I don't think there is. Nothing that's gone viral.
I've never seen that. Yeah. Nothing that's gone viral, right?
Because everyone in general likes to hide away when they were like
when they're not good. You don't want to show anyone
because remember, right? if you were to show someone that you were not good at one point, then apparently it's like you're just like
that's you.
That's you. It's your identity level, right?
So
versus in fitness, it's like it's actually cool. It's more cooler and sexier because it's like. Looking back, I mean, I guess it is for both, but it's like you're the skinny guy and then you become the shredded guy. But
that's because it has more connotations with like many other. It touches on many other things in life. It's like, okay, it's not just the skinny versus muscular. It's like usually confidence and they become more like attractive and stuff like that. It's like a whole. It's like a whole
transformation.
Like
the selfies and stuff. But with League, it's like you post a challenger. It's like, oh, you're shit compared to this streamer.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Because it just doesn't have
So
the same respect, I guess.
I was going to say, did you end up watching MSI? Like, how much of MSI did you genuinely watch?
I watched the first day.
Right. So every game in the first day.
Yeah, at least
Okay.
the highlights, and then the second day, like half of it.
Yep. This was in the play-in stage.
Yeah, and then not really the rest. And then just this morning, I watched the highlights from the final. I mean,
So why
time's
is that?
up. Oh shit, Curtis, we're gonna get into this.
Yeah, I
now.
want to put you on the spot, dude. You know, I just want to get into this.
Fuck. Well, Curtis. I
For
just
you,
don't-
look, again, this is just pure out of interest. You, Nathan Mont. Why didn't you watch MSI?
Okay, well, part of me wants to say I'm really busy, right? And like okay, part of me wants to say that the time zone schedule.
Yep.
There's no way that's going to work because it's like 3 a.m. And then part of me also thinks like I'm not that excited about it.
Well, you could theoretically watch the VODs, right?
Yeah, but I mean, there's no way that I'm doing that. I could do more important things with my time.
Okay. If you had time, would you
Yeah,
genuinely
and then
watch
I
it?
don't know. I feel like
Maybe.
Shit, man. I don't know. This is a good question, Curtis.
Because
And
do
it
you find
saddens
it
me.
fun to watch?
Okay, well, we can get into what fun means, Curtis. But if you
Yeah.
think about,
This is gonna be. This is one thing I do want to touch on within this.
okay,
This episode.
well, like think about what I'm doing. My purpose, my goal, right? I'm trying to be as good as a jungle coach and be a really good jungler as I can. I will be using the MSI VODs to. I really this is what I wanted to get out of MSI for me, because at the end of the day, watching pro play in my mind, it doesn't help me become better at the game, right? Because team plays, I mean, I don't want to say team plays completely different. They're still playing the game, but it's like I can learn more from watching my own VODs and stuff like that. I always preach that, right? So I'm just trying to look at the meta, what jungles are getting picked, jungle matchups, and maybe like the early games. That's really that's what I'm looking for when I watch it, because I'm trying.
But we're not
to
even
use
on
that
the same patch
information.
though, as well. We're not even on the same patch. They're on the old patch.
Shit, that's a good point.
So we literally, I mean,
so
the
yeah,
value.
to be honest, I didn't really care. Then I
yeah.
guess,
So for Soloq, you just get very little value.
yeah.
And it's interesting. Look, and I'm gonna say, for myself, I'm quite saddened by my own reaction to MSI.
Yeah,
like
okay,
I used to
explain
love international events.
Yeah.
I used to watch all of them. Try to watch at least the highlights for like all the main games, quarters, semis, that sort of thing. Straight up, I literally didn't watch anything.
Did it even cross your mind? Were you like, I wish I could, but I don't have the time?
No, I mean, I would check Reddit to see the result,
Yeah.
and then I would go to like game 5 and skim through game 5.
Yeah.
But like, it just doesn't excite me. I don't get
No.
excited. It's
Yeah,
not
there's no
something.
storylines. It's like, well, think about what could you hooked on to
Okay,
do.
yes, the players are really great.
Yeah, they're
and-
good. Yeah.
And it's no disrespect to the players at
No.
all. It's like that's exciting in China versus Korea. It's like a cool little rivalry, and even like Os being at MSI, I watched a little bit, but it's like, again, I'm not connected with any of the storylines. I'm not connected with the outcome. I know their processes, so it doesn't excite me either. There's not it's not like do or die in my mind. And I get way more excitement from watching UFC.
Because
10x.
well, I mean, let's think about why UFC is more exciting. Like, so what got me into UFC was Conor McGregor, right? Big, showy, flashy. Like,
Yep.
What is going on here? What's this? Introduce me to the sport. But I mean, I still don't get that interested in UFC unless it's certain fighters. But that's because I've watched the UFC in bed and I know their storylines and stuff. That's more the thing. So, I mean, the ultimate combination for me is understand someone's journey, what's at stake, and as well as world-class performance.
That's right.
That's the two combinations. And so what I have for League of Legends, MSI, is world-class performance, but I'm missing
The storyline.
what's at stake for these players, what's going on. Because at the end of the day, they don't speak English. I don't know anything about Wei.
No,
You know?
you know nothing basically.
I don't
no
know much
connection.
about Canyon, except I know he's a world-class player, but I know nothing about him.
Right. Okay, you know what? Look, I wasn't going to talk about MSI today, but I think we should at least touch on a few parts of MSI.
The
that
grand finals yesterday, right?
Well, look, we'll talk about the finals, but we should talk a little bit about Os, and we should
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the whole C9 Blaber scenario.
Okay.
I think it is what
All
that
right.
was actually quite big on my Discord.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about apart, because we actually got asked in the comment section, why didn't you guys talk about OS and MSI? You know, you guys being from OS and everything, you know the players. We're literally, Biopanther, the top laner of Pentanet, was in Direwolves, and I coached him for like 2 years, and we went to MSI and went to Worlds with him in 2018. Yeah, 2018, went to Worlds with Biopanther. For me, again, I have an inherent disrespect towards the approach that Oceania has at international events, as well as...
Elaborate on that, Curtis. What does that mean?
Well, like, okay, one of the biggest reasons Pentanet was able to have moderate success, and obviously success is relative, but success...
Well, on paper, they're the most successful OS team to ever go overseas.
On paper, yes. But we can break this down. First of all, let's break down their approach. You look at them from the outside. We know their coach wasn't even there. They literally had a fill-in coach, essentially. They had a very for fun, I don't like using that word, but like a for fun mentality. Just playing, going there, having a crack.
Nothing to lose, right?
Yeah, they're going in. They had no expectation about what they could or couldn't achieve. But that's just not exciting to me. I don't connect with that. I don't resonate with that. It's like, I'm a competitive dude. If I'm going to go into something, and when Direwolves went international, we didn't just say, oh, we're just going to go in and see if we can take a game off someone. No, we come to make it out of the group stage.
Go search up on YouTube. No, search up. Schönfire from Soloq to MSI, and listen to the way he says in that video. He quote, and this is our belief. We thought we would have a pretty...
genuinely believe this.
We will beat every other team at MSI except for Korea in 2017.
Because we thought we were really good. And no, but we were pretty good. But even then, like, our expectations were so high.
Which fucked us.
Which screwed us. Yeah. Right? And because we come in and every game was like do or die. And our expectations, like, if we lost to like what we thought to be a bad team, which was another wildcard team, our confidence dropped all the way down because our expectations were to beat the...
We were like coaching stuff with Jono and like for World Ks.
Yeah, we had insane coaching staff.
And everyone coming
and we're doing well in like scrims and stuff and everything. Yeah. But the thing is that hurt us. But Pentanet, they had the opposite view. It's like, okay, we're going to come in, even if we don't really have any expectations. We're just going to come in, see what we can do, then leave. We're happy if we get like one win, you know? Their mentality was chill, which gave them free flow, and that they were able to kind of be very present and have fun during that experience, which made them perform to their level. Whereas most teams play below their level at Worlds. They will play significantly below, especially the wildcard teams, because they're so nervous.
So much pressure, man.
So much pressure. They're representing their region. Everyone's like, their eyes are on them. They're versing like these teams that they've never played before. So when they verse Unicorn to Love, right? Unicorn to Love are probably so intense. Like, okay, we've got to beat this team. We want to make it out to make groups.
Well, I mean, we'll think about it. The expectation for the group is that they should have gone out with RNG, right?
Yeah, because like, think about it. They play European solo queue and everything.
Yeah. And OS is the worst region.
OS is, all they say is OS is bad as Japan and like all those other regions. So like they had probably the thought process, we're going to stomp these guys and make it out. But they were probably so in their head, like Direwolves in 2017, 2018. So props to Pentanet for having a crack and being able to express what they're capable of and take a game off C9, which, you know, is that is impressive.
That's ridiculous.
That shouldn't happen. That should never happen. And we'll get to the C9 thing in a second.
Yeah.
But that should never happen.
So, I mean, we also got to think as well of the circumstance for their group. Obviously, the Vietnam team, Gigabyte Marines.
They would never be Vietnam. I could bet any amount of money that would get obliterated by Vietnam.
They didn't make it. So, it was a three-group team. It was a three-group. It was meant to be four teams in the group, so they didn't get to versus Vietnam because I think it was COVID. Was it that because of it?
I don't know.
Something about visas or something like that, right? So they didn't make it. But Gigabyte Marines would. Vietnam is a very good region.
They're very good region.
Yeah.
And traditionally, again, not many people know this, OS has always dominated Russia. Because we were never in the same group as Russia.
We never were.
We were never in the same group as Russia in the play-ins, in any of these international events. And in scrims, in 2018
MSI, we were like 20 and...
We went like 20 and 1 versus them. Literally 20 wins, 1 loss. They called us scrim gods. They could not beat us, and they were terrified of us. They thought we were the best team in the play-ins. They thought we were terrifying. We dominated them.
That was Gambit, was it?
That was Gambit, yeah. Gambit. We dominated Gambit. And... And yeah, they thought we were just terrifying. And traditionally, OSA's dominated Russia. And we have performed above our level individually for some reason versus a lot of these other regions, when it doesn't even make sense. So I would say Australia individually has some good players, but our team play is just, really just not there.
We're isolated here in our little
That's right.
little server.
So look, and because Pentanet had that mentality, I just wasn't interested. I don't want to watch a bunch of casuals. They don't play full time. They're not in a gaming house. It's just like
the results they get's cool, but it's like,
that's just a joke to me.
It's just
where's the competitive integrity?
Yeah.
Just not interested.
And then you could flip it saying, like, how incredible these players must be to be playing on part-time and winning these games. Again, it's more like these teams are playing worse.
These players are playing worse.
They should be, just because of the international stage. I mean, that you might think this is a bit of a cop-out. I guess it could be a bit of a cop-out. But again, the thing is like that those results are not going to be replicated over the long run, right?
No. So that's probably like a 1 in 20, 1 in 50 game. And it happens sometimes. Yeah. Upsets do happen, right? Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about C9 because they did beat C9. And look, again, there's a bunch of people who probably don't watch esports of this, right? There's probably a lot of people who watch the Broken by Concept. Like, I didn't follow MSI. I don't even know what MSI is. Essentially, Cloud9 were one of the top American seed, and they versed Oceania, our top seed, and they beat them in one of the games in the group stages. And we had a big discussion in my Discord, Midland Academy Discord, and we're talking about. Someone actually raised it, said, Curtis, isn't what is happening with Cloud9's social media with the whole Blaber scenario exactly like the Destiny? When we talked about the Destiny
scenario? Was that episode 1 or 2? It was one of our. I remember it was one of our first 3 episodes. We talked about the potential dangers of memes and meme culture.
Yeah, the dangers of the meme culture. And so Cloud9, their jungler Blaber, he made him like a pretty... Okay, we should talk about Blaber as well. We might as well.
Okay.
So Blaber, their jungler, played pretty atrociously.
Yeah.
During the entire
some pretty
tournament.
Basic fundamental errors.
I mean, there was literally a highlight clip of him, of all his mistakes. And it would look pretty... It was embarrassing.
It was, yeah.
It was embarrassing. He was not playing to his level.
That's not his best, no.
That's not his best. And there was a play where he like flashed for a scuttle and just died. And... It became a meme, like Blaber flashing for scuttle.
It happened
C9
multiple times.
Was it
lost Crab?
Was it
Crab 9?
Crab 9, and even their own social media were jumping on the bandwagon with Reddit and the community to kind of like own that meme.
Yeah, I would say the social media manager of that team is doing a great job for bringing engagement and getting the fun.
Yeah, definitely the engagement.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, they were pushing. They're essentially just shitting on their own jungler. Imagine Blaber seeing their own teams.
They changed their Twitter thing to Crab9.
And it would be literally in the talks with their organization. People would be talking about it. He'd be hearing that word. Even if he wasn't on social media, he'd probably be hearing it places. It will haunt him.
Well, he apparently did an interview, said it didn't affect him.
Oh,
that's not how it works.
That is not how it works. Because even if they say that, they can't say that it did affect him.
No.
He wouldn't be able to say that it affected him.
Yeah.
And poor dude, he got ripped to shreds from the inside, from his own organization. They put him down.
That's the key thing. Like that's the key thing. It's the again, obviously that's what you sign up for being a pro player is criticism from the community when you play bad, but that's the thing.
From your own organization, the people who are meant to care about you.
Yeah.
And care about how you feel. And look, at the end of the day, and because how it works we've seen this firsthand, how it works in these teams is that memes are it's like a disguised way of saying something passive aggressive.
It's passive aggressive.
It's passive aggression. It's like, Crab 9, Clown, whatever you want to call it. Well, basically what they're saying is my jungler is shit, or like my jungler's flashing for Crab. What the hell is he doing? Like, you're just jabbing, jab, passive aggression.
So then over time, what it does, it becomes at an identity level. So now Blaber will be like, he's the guy that screws up crabs. And if he does it again in the future, that will instantly play on his mind. It's like, oh, I fucked up again. I did it. I thought I fixed that mistake.
And whenever he walks like a river, he's probably like shitting himself, dude.
Right, yeah.
And he played worse throughout the tournament. He got worse. He literally got worse throughout the tournament. Yeah. And which makes perfect sense. His confidence was in the dumps. He's never going to get out of it. And again, this is just one of those things that, like, I'm just not interested in esports right now. And that's the sort of thing. This is coming from the top organization in North America. And yes, whenever I bring this argument up, people will say, oh, yeah, we're in a different time. Esports isn't traditional sports. You just don't see this in traditional sports for a goddamn reason, man. It's just gross. It's just not right. I mean, look, okay. And when I say not right, from a professional standpoint, you can say that all the, the Reddit and the memes and all that shit, you know what that is? All these orgs are so desperate for engagement, they're just doing anything.
Yeah, the social media, they're getting promoted, dude. For Cloud9, but Blaber's getting demoted. That's the way it works.
Like, there's a fine line, in my opinion, between like being an influencer and like trying to, marketing versus like
your own set of values. What
are the values of C9? What's important to them? I don't see that at all. What's important to C9? What are their operating principles? What do they stand for? Why would I follow C9?
I guess I think they have earned that identity, haven't they? They've always been about the C9, the meme team and stuff like that. No, right. but then it's weird because then they would say they want to be like... I remember an interview specifically saying, Jack was saying they're not the meme team. They were trying to be globally competitive and stuff like that. Once the whole sneaky era went away.
You look at I admire like the brand that like teams like SKT built. It's just on performance. It's on excellence. It's on like being the best of the best. I respect that a lot more.
Well, because it's not necessarily what pays the bills.
Right. But anyway, so I would say Blaber got eaten from the inside, from his own organization. Yeah. And I think it's a shame that we still see that nowadays. And
again, it might look harmless. Go back to one of our episodes where we talk about our experience with it in our team.
Exactly happened with us and our player as well. And I was part of it. And I didn't even realize I was part of it. You don't even realize it's happening. I was joining in on the fun. Yeah. That poor dude his confidence got destroyed.
Correct. There was an interesting take. I mean, we've talked a lot about NA and stuff, right? Yeah. Let's quickly touch on this. This was from GBay99.
He's that content creator,
Yeah, he's a League of Legends content creator.
Yeah.
It was like a Reddit post. It got 14,000 upvotes, dude, right?
Holy moly.
As someone who's watched NA League for 10 years now, it's weird how I've started rooting against my own region. At this point, I want NA to fail. If for anything, if for nothing else, then the embarrassment of team owners and all these ridiculous decisions they made to cripple the local scene.
Right. So I'm assuming, because I know GB, he was really big against the
import rule, yeah, and that's sort of like a flow on for that. And it got hugely upvoted because a lot of the NA fans were agreeing with his post. As much as that's like such a controversial post. I love seeing NA lose
as well for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason.
I love seeing them lose.
Yeah, it's interesting how we root against them because they're
like this. No, okay, what it is, I think Thorin puts it well. It's like they're kind of like the try hard at school or something. They're trying to be cool, but they just don't fit in.
Yeah.
You just don't fit in.
Well, the reason they don't fit in is because they keep trying to steal the cool kid, follow the trends,
they haven't
like the
owned
EU
their
player.
Identity.
And
what is the identity of NA?
No.
What is it?
Currently identity is that let's bring over the best players from other regions and we're a retirement home, right?
But so so for those of you who have a bit of spare time, that Thorin rant piece that he did on Double Lift, is exceptional.
It's really good. Yeah.
It is. It's one of the I had to make a tweet. I tweeted out.
Did you really?
Yeah, I tweeted at Thorin and said this was like the most important. I said it's like an amazing take,
wow.
And no one's brave enough to say this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things
because you can't go against Double Lift. He's like an NA legend.
Yeah, and he basically calls out the weak mentality of the top NA players, and Double Lift was called out saying something like, we're just behind. Like, Korea just got like ahead and then we just didn't adapt. And like he's saying as if like they can't. He's talking as if like they just can't do it because they're just behind. Once you're behind, they have the advantage. You just can't make it up. And then he was basically saying how the game changes. If anything, League is the perfect game where you can catch up, because it's not like if you were the best, you would stay the best. You know, the top players, the same team doesn't win worlds every time. Even in Korea and China, the top teams don't always win every year. The game changes so often. You've got to adapt with the times. So if anything, League would be a game where theoretically NA, if your processes were really good and you knew how to develop talent, you knew how to actually get better, you could overtake anyone because the game is literally changing. So he called out all these very toxic, invisible narratives that like these NA players have, and he says it's like rotten from the inside, essentially.
That's a good way of putting it.
And I think that's NA's biggest problem, is that they continually, they don't truly believe that they can get better in a way. I think that they haven't internalized it, because the only way, okay, going back to that cool kid analogy, you know what makes someone quote unquote fit in or cool in that context is owning your identity, is accepting where you're at and just being who you are. NA,
people respect you more for that.
People respect you more for that. But NA can't. So what I believe to be the biggest problem with NA is that their financial interests are completely run opposite or counter to the performance aspect. So in order for them to actually be better from a performance standpoint, they literally have to say, look, everything that we're doing right now is basically wrong, right? From our solo queue, our scouting, our coaching staff, our processes, the importing, everything we're doing right now. Maybe some things are, okay, not everything, but some things here and there we can take. But we need to accept that we don't know what we're doing, and we're going to figure it out. Exactly like Bill Walsh with the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers. We don't know shit. We're at the bottom. We need to build from scratch. But that doesn't make sense, because the narrative that the marketing team and like the sponsors, everything, is that NA is an elite major region.
That's how it's been sold.
It's how it's been sold from a
because we have a lot of money.
We have a lot of money. We're the America. We're great at sports. The college is the what's it called, we've got the academy teams, you have the collegiate programs, we've got the talent pool, all this shit, right? It doesn't make sense for them to say we don't know what we're doing.
No.
Because even if
a lot of people are getting fired if that's the case.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting fired, and these people who are making the decisions don't want to keep their jobs, first of all. And they would all have to put their egos aside and say, look, we don't know what the fuck we're doing here, guys. Because what we've done hasn't worked for years.
Yeah.
That's it. And that won't happen. And a part of me, dead set, I don't see how NA can change. I don't know.
No, I mean, I always say the only possible way for NA to compete overseas is their solo queue needs to become world class. It needs to be on par with other regions.
But again, their focus isn't ever on the solo queue either.
I mean, again, coaches will listen to that and they'll laugh at that because like scrims.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I don't see that the people at the top of NA who are making decisions or the role models, they're not. I don't think that they're going in the right direction either.
No.
Simple.
We have someone again like Double Lift.
Yep, Double Lift, huge voice, spreading nonsense. Thorin is the only one that is calling bullshit. Thorin is literally calling bullshit, and
because G-Bay as well,
or G-Bay I guess as well. But Thorin got into the details. Thorin gets specific. So I highly recommend you guys check out. I think it's called. What's the actual video called? It's like Double Lift nonsense or something like that.
Yeah, why Double Lift? It's like
why
if you
Double
type
Lift
in Thorin Double Lift, you'll find it.
You'll find it. It's one of the most recent videos.
So that's MSI Curse and esports.
That's MSI. Anything else? Again, I don't like talking about esports that much, but
we don't really talk on the podcast.
I had a few people ask us to touch on
it. I mean, I just can't believe it, Curtis. I mean, I went through the VOD from the grand final today, and because again, I look at draft picks. Udyr 5 games in a row for Way. Unbelievable, man. And I like one of the top comments from the Reddit post was saying, if someone told me a year ago, a couple of months ago, that Udyr would be 5 games picked in a row in a grand final, Korea versus China, MSI,
you would never.
They'll think he's lost his sanity.
Yeah, it's impossible. Wouldn't make sense.
It's literally impossible.
Going from quote unquote the worst champion in the game,
unplayable in the jungle,
to the best.
Yeah. And you have like the Udyr and Morgana match up like 3 games in a row or something.
So boring.
Because Morgana's count as Udyr, right? But they just kept picking it into it. They didn't give a shit. I love that, by the way. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is.
No
Shows champion
overcomplicating
mastery.
draft.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. So, I wanted to talk about fun.
Fun.
In my Discord, I don't want to say all the time, every now and then, I get people talk about how to make the game more fun.
I would say a lot of, I know, I mean, many people that have quit the game because they've said they don't have fun anymore. Yeah, with the game.
And it's always fascinated me. Like, what is it? First of all, what does fun mean? And Nathan brought up a good analogy before. We'll say what you want to talk about the topics today.
But was I saying it's subjective, right? Yeah. So the word fun, I mean, it differs for everyone, right? People have different fun in different activities. The way we started off, because Curtis has brought it up to me about, you know, what should we talk on the podcast? And Curtis was like, fun. I was like, well, Curtis, when you go clubbing, is it fun for you? And what's your response, Curtis?
Yeah, I just can't stand it.
You hate it.
I genuinely hate
Yeah.
clubbing.
Great. So
I want to avoid it as much as I possibly can.
All right. So that's your view, your opinion on it, right? And then other people love clubbing.
Other people love it.
Okay. So, and if you really were to think about it, like subjectively, objectively, clubbing is meant to be, it is a fun experience, right?
Yeah, but I think you're spot on in the sense that yes, it's subjective in the sense that one person can find it fun, one person might not. But then even to certain levels, people can find the same activity unfun for different reasons or fun for different reasons. You might find League fun for one reason, which maybe you find League fun because of the amount of variance game to game. Another person might enjoy
based
League
on champions,
based on the amount of options they have, champions. They can play different game modes, whatever it is. They love that aspect, or because they can play with their friends, whatever it is. I think in order to dissect this, because I don't know how to answer this question, it's always boggled me. I want to talk about what fun is for you, Nathan, and what just is fun in general. What does fun in the context of League of Legends mean?
So fun for me in League of Legends would be simply the learning process, reaching ranked goal, solving problems. I wouldn't even say reaching the goal. No, it's the learning process and it's the solving problems and attacking my problems in the game, which the result, you know, is like to get it is the fun bit. But that's not the most fun bit. The fun bit's that bit for me.
Right.
And mastering a champion and putting in like the hours, the hundreds of hours it takes to do that and stuff.
Right. And I would say you even mentioned before, Nathan, one part that you said, it's the being present and just exerting every part of your brain to solving the problem. And that's the one part I love. It's like when I'm playing my best League of Legends, I couldn't have more fun if I tried.
No.
Because I'm using every part of my brain.
It's a feeling you get.
It's a feeling it's like the flow zone. It's like you're in that flow state.
Playing out of my mind. That's what I always have. Play out of my mind this game. I was on point. Like, that feeling.
It's like a feeling, right?
Yeah.
That is what I chase.
Yeah.
I chase that. And that's when you're perfectly challenged.
Yeah.
It's a great quality game. You've got it's a very even, or it's even like probably slightly tough game. You've got a lot of champion mastery. You know what you got to do to win the game, but you got to execute it flawlessly. So you're soaking in as much information as possible. You're typing your team what they should and shouldn't do, like trade to this objective, go top side. You're calling lane assignments. You're like pinging danger where enemy jungler is gonna be. You're going like above and beyond. That is like the most fun that you can have. It's not easy, and it's not even to do. I mean, yes, like you said, the winning is fun, but it's like that process of like. Exerting everything
I could
to win.
be if I'm diamond. If I'm challenger right now, 700 LP. If I was diamond 2 right now, and I have put in the same amount of work, same process that I've done over the last couple of months, I would still be very satisfied with my rank because I know that I'm trying hard, dude. I'm trying hard, man.
Which actually explains a lot for me because I don't have fun. I genuinely don't have fun on Smurfs. I cannot have fun.
I don't like it.
And because I don't have fun, I can't get myself to try. I'm terrible at playing on second accounts. I can't do it because it's not about the win for me. It's just I just don't get any satisfaction. I'm not challenged enough. I genuinely just don't find it fun. So I would say fun for both of us by the sounds of it. It's very process driven, and it's more like satisfaction or contentment or fulfillment stemming from a feeling of flow and presence in the game. Now, when I get asked this question, how do you have more fun, Curtis? What like I don't have fun. What is that? What springs to mind when you hear that sort of question? Is that even the right question to ask?
Yeah, it's the wrong question. There's all these things down there. So I mean, it'll be the way that common responses. I'm just trying to think about when I've always had this conversation. It always leads to nowhere, essentially. Because how do I have more fun? Because so one of the champions that they main is like just sucks or has dropped out of meta.
They've lost track of their goals.
Yeah, their goals. Like they're just losing games, and they just like have intin teammates and stuff. And again, like the way that I have all that stuff too, but I can have fun from the game still, but that person may not be able to.
So I think, you're touching on some interesting points. So I think what I believe it to be when I get that question, it says to me that they are lost.
Yeah.
They are not they're not following a process.
No.
They don't know what they're improving at.
They probably don't know why they're playing.
No, they don't have a goal. Like nothing excites them and connected to a goal that actually excites them. Which I resonate with. I've been there before.
Yeah, that league is unfun.
League is unfun when you don't really have a goal.
Yeah.
You got to have something that excites you. And so I would say a better question, a better way to frame it is, okay, I can't tell you how to have fun, but I can. But then I think what I should reply with is, okay, what excites you? What goal excites you? Do you want to get a specific rank? Do you want to be better than a specific friend? Even though we said that to be unhelpful, like comparing, but sometimes that for certain people, that excites them. Do they want to compete at a certain competition? Do they want to win at a certain competition? Do they want to
get a college? There's some guy doing collegiate who wants a scholarship.
Yep, same thing as me. I got a few of them want to connect with what motivates you. And yes, you can, and again, generally people will say then, Nathan, but then aren't we just being results oriented? Aren't we just figuring out the LP? Well then, yes and no. You do have to have some form of thing that excites you, but it's not what you focus on. It's kind of like the compass. It's like that's in the distance. I want to go that direction. That's where I'm leading to. But the process of getting to that point is what makes the game fun. So I would say lack of direction is a big one. And I would say another pitfall people fall into is if you fail to get into the details and figure out why things are happening,
you go off track. You go out of this world.
Because how can it be fun if you don't know what's happening? It's just out of your control. What's the point?
What's the point?
So again, ties back to process. And I truly believe that yes, certain people can have fun of the game by simply playing a champion, doing cool combos, whatever. That is a little part of fun of the game. But I truly believe the large majority of people in League, in the community, get the most satisfaction, fulfillment, and in turn, the most fun by being present in the flow state, exerting their highest level of play. And the only way you can do that reliably is by having an incentive to try in that game. You might be able to try one game. You're not going to be able to try the next whole block. You're not going to be able to try later in the evening. You're not going to be able to try the next day. You can have that odd game. But doing it reliably just won't happen. And you're just going to get burnt out.
So you know how I was saying that the learning process is fun? You know what? Sometimes it's not fun. Like you have like a really frustrating block and, you're doing the process and everything. And this could go on for days and like you get really pissed off. Yeah. And I would say that I'm not always having fun, but overall my experience is fun.
It reminds me a lot of the book we're reading right now in the book club.
Yeah.
You know how he talks about
Can't Hurt Me,
David Goggins. Can't Hurt Me. And he talks about like the whole like suffering. But it's like not meant to be enjoyable. But like you do it but you feel good afterwards. I think that's the important thing. You feel it's kind of like going to the gym. Like
everything.
Gym, okay, in a weird way is fun, but sometimes the process of getting up and going to the gym, wake up early in the morning, whatever, that's shit. It's shit for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. and you lift a lot of weights or you look good or you don't look good. It's not like someone wants to do that in a way. Or they do and they don't.
Yeah, well, again, it wouldn't be fun for someone that... I mean, let's say gym, for me, originally, I would never view it as a fun thing because I wouldn't see any results. Or I think that you have to put in so much work. Like, that's, again, we talk about that. It wasn't our identity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But once I didn't give a shit about the results... And results came after because I stuck to the process by going to the gym.
No, but I think Nathan, you're on an interesting point saying sometimes this is not.
Yeah, but sometimes it's just
sometimes it's just not. It's like a greater. There's a greater cause. Like, you know, it's like, okay, me trying to go from 800 LP to 900. A lot of the time, I'm gonna queue up and I'm gonna have, like you said, a shitty block. Overall, I didn't really have that much fun. It might have been a 15 and then have 2 losing sides and then I get off roll. A lot of the time I get 2 support games. I'm gonna have glimpses of fun in a cool skirmish or whatever. But overall, it's probably not that fun. There's probably other things I could have done to have more fun. But then again, the grand scheme of things, I'm setting myself up to put myself in a position where I'm going to have a shit ton of fulfillment and fun. So again, it's just like the long-term, short-term thing again, I reckon. So hopefully that answers, hopefully that answers something for some people.
Yeah. The way my advice is, if you're asking the question, I'm just not having fun anymore, you really got to do some deep work about why you're playing the game and why, because there's just so much underneath it. It's not as simple as whatever you might think it is.
I've actually got a little story here from... I got an email.
It looks a bit like an essay to me, Curtis.
It's a bit of an essay here. But I think it's worth sharing because this guy, he's a 30-year-old gamer from Poland. We've had a few of these stories on the
I swear our podcast, our audience is so old, man. You know, like...
We do have a bit of an old...
when we say so old 30. What do old people do, Curtis? Maybe we should start realigning our podcast. Like, you know, at the beginning we do like our intros. What do old people do? Like, old men specifically. They play golf or something. We should start talking about the...
I could see myself playing golf, legit.
Yeah. Anyway, continue on, Curtis.
Okay. So anyway... This guy, he reached his goal that took him 7 years.
Oh my God, I love it. I'm
already
already excited.
Thousands of hours watching many YouTube videos, which gave him almost nothing. So he's writing to share his story. He said, I made him successful, and he wants to tell you exactly what helped him the most. So hopefully some other people listening to this can also resonate and get a little bit of value from it. So I'll kind of skim through a little bit. So he'd been playing for a long time, since season 2. He played in season 3, got gold. Then season 4 is when the nightmare began. From this season, I was hard stuck platinum, bouncing from 4 to 1 time to time. I was a Shaco main. He felt worthless in the jungle. Felt useless, so eventually he changed to mid. Played a lot of different champions, but he got bored by playing more than 3. He just played a bunch of different champions because he got bored. But then he found out that champion mastery was key, so he only played Malzahar, Orianna, and Nivea. But anyway, because he was playing a lot of mages, he started finding himself playing very defensively because he versed champions like Zed and Katarina. So he just became a very passive player. And then he says, here we go into jungle diff compensation. He is pushing and not getting ganked by my jungler. I played with my lower ranked friends. I blame them. I truly believed that the game was coin flip and my account was screwed. He made a smurf, got to plat, nothing changed. Lee became unbearable for him at this point. There was no fun. Think of that. There was no fun. I always ended up angry, didn't want to play the same champions, and I was still losing. For me, losing was a big waste of time and I could not handle it. It mostly looks like this. I logged on. I would have 3 defeats, get angry, break for 1 week. I was afraid to queue up, scared of losing. When I was coming back, I played even worse because of not playing for a long period of time. Because if you don't play for a week, you're going to play worse. And bouncing back phase was always a weird case. I started playing for fun with 0 expectations, not caring if I win or lose, without any pressure to spend time with a friend, but then would have win streaks, get back to high plat, then it happened again, obviously with expectations, vicious circle. finally,
I love that vicious circle. It's like you have that. It's so crazy how quickly you can fall back. I've actually somewhat fallen into that trap recently a little bit because I'm picking up like a new champ pool and stuff, and I've sort of been a little bit frustrated learning Elise and Rek'Sai and stuff. But yeah, it's like you know it's important. Don't care. Not attached to losses. You get results from it. Even though you got the results from that way, you now have expectation that you're just like you're good at the game or something now because like you're just beating everyone, right? And then you get that toxic expectation to now win like every game you're playing, and then you get angry, and then you're back to square one.
Because it leads to little decisions in game, like you would force things more, overcompensate more, play more scared, and it just impacts your gameplay in subtle ways.
That's the thing. So oversight of whales, like oversight of whales, or overcomplicate the shit out of the game, man. Like, dude, I've overcomplicated the game sometimes. It's unbelievable. It's actually like I don't think people could overcomplicate it more than sometimes in situations. Like, just fucking play the game, basic fundamentals, concede the crab, make sure you have experience in gold.
Yep. So this guy was in the shit by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
This is very classic scenario.
Yep.
Right? So everything that we've mentioned on the podcast, he's basically had every problem.
Yeah.
He's had mental blocks for Zeds. He's had jungle lift compensations. He's had coin flip. He went through the coin flip, made new accounts, Smurf accounts. He's gone through the whole works. Then he said, a few months ago, I actually found your Oriana guide. He said it was very unique, interesting approach to the champion. Every little detail was explained precisely. I was overwhelmed with the amount of information. Then he jumped into the mid lane fundamentals, tilt videos, compensation, blah, 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 blah. And he says, I did not realize how many things I've been doing wrong. During many years of playing, I feel like I was going through every struggle you mentioned. And then when I found out you and Nathan have Broken by Concept, I was so happy. League is in my mind very often, and I'm listening to it every day to and from work in my car. So I started grinding ranked games, again with my fresh new mindset. I chose Anivia this time. And after 7 years of trying, on Sunday the 9th, he reached his goal, Diamond 4. He says, I was a reason he was able to do it. So below, he actually lists a bunch of changes he implemented, which in his opinion matters the most in my case. But he says that a lot of people will probably have these get value from these things. So we're going to go through them here. The most important thing for me was that he had to realize that he is going to lose a lot. Losing is part of the game. That you should play at least 200 games to find out what level that you are actually at. He said we spoke about in the BBC. And that you only need just above 50% win rate to climb. And that there is always someone better than you. And he says it was really hard for him to understand it because it caused him to tilt so many times. He could not handle losing. But after realizing these points, his mindset just changed. The fear of queuing up was gone. Again, tying back to the Soloq contract, it's part of the experience. It's inevitable you are going to lose. So the second thing was to have intention on every single wave and play according to your jungler. This one was huge for me. I am at every scuttle fight and trying to be there first. And since Anivia has amazing tools for zoning and cutting people off, it feels like the game is completely different for me now. It's so important. And he said the third one here was, you don't always need to be the carry and try risky things to help win the game. He says he's still struggling with this one. I'm assuming this is like the loser's game mentality. And sometimes he pushes too hard and dies a lot, especially when he's ahead or has an easy matchup. But that was something that really changed his mind. He says, during my journey in this season, there was a game in which he died to a Vel'Koz. After a few team fights, I found that killing him is the win condition. I waited the entire team fight as he would start his ult, then I would interrupt it with a wall. And he won this game where he was 0-5. He never would have won that game. The other tip he gave is review
problem solving. That's he's literally solved a problem.
But think about that.
In mid-game.
If you never had that mentality, if you just gave up, you would never come to that conclusion. You
That's
wouldn't even
right.
get close to it.
No.
It's like, I'm behind in lane.
So then now that game is literally basically a complete waste of time.
Go next.
Yeah.
Then he said, review the games and learn from your mistakes. It is painful, but it gives so much knowledge and confidence in next games. And he says, play often. I got better day by day as the week progressed. Simple stuff. Again, there's nothing fancy here, really. It's just he just seems like now he has a process. He's understanding the loser's game. He understands that losing is part of the experience. Have intention on waves. Don't try to be the carry all the time. Literally review your games, learn from your mistakes, and play often.
The way when you go over this, I'm thinking he has switched from a short-term approach to a long-term approach to the game. And if you have a short-term approach to League of Legends, it will not be fun, I think. And you'll never climb.
Yeah, think about that. He went from just literally can't even queue up, afraid to queue up, angry every game.
Short term,
vicious cycle, all short term. All about win streaks. All about having fun right now. And the fun. Notice how fun was tied to wins or losses.
Yep.
It's all pretty. Again, it's all the same stuff we talk about. So thank you. His name's Powell from Poland, and dude, to get your goal of 7 years, that's amazing.
What's next, Mr. Powell?
Yeah, what's next, man? You gotta set another goal, dude. That's a pretty
love it.
Amazing story, dude.
Maybe it is really like, I mean, Lemmy Lee is just mental driven, man. Like, we know it's a mental game, but like, holy guacamole, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
You know what the scary thing is, dude? Is that this guy might never
Never,
have redone.
that's right.
That's the scary thing. He could have wasted thousands of hours.
How many people have missed out on this because he's actually learnt about himself from this and stuff.
Well, imagine how this is going to affect his real life, dude.
Yeah.
What other areas is he doing the exact same thing?
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Because that is such a powerful question, that Curtis. Imagine if he went on the way that he was approaching the game. I mean, that's what happens. You quit. You quit the game, and that's what I've seen. That's what I found.
You don't have fun, dude. What's the point? Short term. Also wanted to talk about...
Can I switch out the camera, Curtis?
Okay.
We're back in 2 milliseconds, guys.
All right, we're back. So I was going to quickly touch on switching off from League. Look, this is probably something that's more relevant for the people that really want a goal in a short period of time, I would say. People that are taking the climb.
So when you say switching off to League, is they think about the game all day and they can't do real life things? What do you mean by that?
Well, after a block, I'm assuming, or in between, maybe even in between games, or I would say, yeah, but mainly at the end of the day, you finish your block and switching off from the game. And I would say this stems from everything, whether it's switching off from work, switching off from... This is something that I struggle with personally.
Yeah.
You don't really struggle with it, do you?
No, I mean, I think it's healthy not to switch off in a way. Like, that means you really care about it.
Right.
And you really want to, like, fix it or... I mean, sometimes your best ideas have been when you were, like, meant to do... You know, you get to, like...
You do something else.
You're not doing it, but you're thinking about it.
Dude, I got to roast gifts here, dude. So we spoke about gifts a few times, right? Yeah. So he's actually got accepted into a university. He's actually made it. He's like studying to be a psychologist. Like,
oh
legit.
My god,
like he's made it, and he's studying his few years, and he'll be like a doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor Gifts, legit.
Whoa, you gotta have a doctor in the community.
And and you know what? He is the definition of. We talk about the smarter you are, the worse at League you are in a weird way.
Yeah,
he's an incredibly switched on dude.
Yeah,
but he's the definition of overcomplicate everything.
Yeah, no, I'll say that's from my experience is that the smarter you are, the harder it is to get good at League because you can overthink a lot of things. But I'd say in general, the smarter you are, the harder your whole life is.
It's harder your whole life. Yeah.
You know.
Because when you enter into a conversation, you're probably thinking of like a trillion things that they're saying and like analyzing the situation when you're in it,
applying this knowledge. And
dude, I love Gifts.
Yeah,
he's like my favorite human. You know, he's an amazing dude.
That's why you can roast him.
Yeah, I can just roast him, dude.
He's like a little toy, dude.
But the thing is, he
lab rat.
He messages me often, and he will say things. Look, I'm in the shit. I've lost all these games. And then 3 days later, he comes like, look, I'm on a win streak. I've got 8 wins. And look, and he says, I just don't know what's wrong, man. What's wrong with me? And I said, dude, there is nothing I can do to help you from a gameplay standpoint. It's nothing to do with your gameplay. It's nothing. And you know what? He was one of the main reasons I got prompted to make I made a video, top Soloq destructive behaviors.
Got it.
Because I can't help him.
No.
I cannot help him. It's nothing to do with the in-game. And tying back to everything, we were talking about, and he was the one I actually mentioned he struggled to switch off. I genuinely tell him, and I feel bad for saying this. It's like, you need to watch that video. I can say, watch that video.
What's his? Does he what? What's
Yeah, he
his,
watched it. He says it's excellent, and he says he's like a doctor that can't listen to his own advice. He can't listen to his own advice. He knows exactly what he needs to do, but he cannot do it.
Yeah.
He can't just relax, focus on the process, and let the results come. He will just overemphasize the immediate, what is happening right now. Oh, I don't know what's happening right now. I can't play today. Oh, like there's something going wrong with my Diana, or is Diana just bad, or there's just something happening in the immediate right now that is influencing and ruining his confidence. And what I said to him is what I genuinely believe, and Gifts, I'm going to expose you a little bit here. I truly believe, because his biggest fear is that he can't deal with looking bad to someone else in the game.
Yeah.
And it's his insecurity in real life is haunting him. And it's going to impact him in other areas of his life. But it's pure insecurity. And he cannot stand when he makes a mistake, he cannot stand that someone else feels like he's getting judged and saying that person thinks he's bad. He can't accept it. He can't be like, it's okay. I don't know this dude. I don't really care about his opinion. It means nothing to me. Even if he did have an opinion, how has that got anything to do with my journey? And this is obviously some deep-seated insecurity that he's had in other areas of his life. Maybe, he cared a lot about other people's opinions. And it's eating him from the inside.
Yeah. You know what? Okay.
And I don't know what to say.
Okay,
you know it, and I'm telling you, this is it. I believe it's and it's what my self-sabotage video, it's a problem in real life. It's going to come up. It's going to bite you in the ass eventually, whether it's in league or in your job or in your relationship with your wife. At some point, you got to address it.
So this is the way I dealt with a similar situation. Again, I talk a lot about me being stuck last season in Diamond to getting Challenger this season, right? You know what you said there is that you suck at following your own advice. Because I was coaching all last year, right? I was coaching all last year, stuck in Diamond.
And if you saw your own gameplay objectively, if that was someone else's review,
it's like basic fundamental errors. But I'm giving that advice, but I can't execute it myself. The moment that changed for me was when I accepted my level of play. Okay, because what I was doing there, I was trying to, again, similar thing, because I was trying to look good for other people. You know how like sometimes I tell you it's like I'll lose confidence, imposter syndrome, because I'm like I'm saying all this stuff, but like, dude, I'm in Diamond, dude. Like I can't. How can I coach and give advice when I suck, right? And then when I was to play bad, I knew it was bad. But I wasn't doing following my advice in terms of like focusing on like the fundamentals. Like I was so in my head and overcomplicating things. And you just gotta look. You're not smarter than you think you are. Okay. You're like I just like this. Let go.
No, Nathan. If you were to go back in time right now, Nathan, right now to 2019, 2020, the start of 2020, basically. Yeah. If you were to sit down with yourself, how would you articulate it? What would you say to yourself?
I would say I'd be roasting myself, dude. I'd be like, just because you were challenging last season doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Accept your level of play. You're gonna have to play hundreds of games. You're gonna lose a lot. You're gonna look like shit. People are gonna flame you. People are gonna meme you because Nathan's trying to make a comeback in the game. Accept it. Let go of your rank. Do not give it, like we talk about all the time, let go of your rank.
But Nathan but why was it? I said this stuff to you I've said this to you 2019. I said it in 2020. How come it didn't work? Because it's so easy for you. Because again, Nathan.
Yeah. It didn't work because...
It didn't work. But when did it...
Because I had an expectation for myself and I got rid of the expectation. Well, maybe before then, what it was is that, well, simple. It wasn't fucking working. Do something else.
Right. It just wasn't working.
That's where it came from. Just more of a hunger to just solve this issue. I'm like, I'm stuck in Diamond. Nathan, get your shit together. Figure out. Curtis is giving me this advice. I'm giving advice to people. How about you just follow your advice for a little bit?
Be a practitioner.
And be a practitioner. And then I was just conscious of it. Every time I had the self-sabotaging behavior, I would catch myself, I guess. But I would say it was really birthed from the hunger to just get out of the shitty situation I was in. Because I was fucked, dude. I was like October, September last year was not good. Yeah, but just embrace. You know how you talk about embrace the suck and
Yeah.
like you're being a psychologist and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just accept you're gonna be a shitty psychologist.
Yeah, just accept that at the start.
Dude, you're just gonna be shit, man. But it's play the long game. If you just put in the most you can every day and you have a process, usually the results are pretty incredible. You'll be surprised. I'm surprised with the results that I've had following the
Look,
process.
and I know we've been mentioning David Goggins a lot, right? Because it's inevitable because we're reading that book, right? Both of us are reading that book right now.
For our book club.
Look, I even get emotional just thinking about what he had to go through to get to the level he was and the level of mental toughness. But something that always sticks, one part of the book we talks about, we're only operating at like 40%. When we think we're at 100, or we're even like max 60%. There's so much untapped potential. And I'm going to say this again and again and again. We are able to achieve above and beyond what we possibly thought was possible, what we could think is possible. Above and beyond. So if you really are in that situation, if you are in the shit, whether you don't know what is happening, you're stuck at a rank or whatever it may be. I always feel as though you kind of know the answer. Do you kind of feel that? Like you kind of know the answer. You kind of know why you're there.
Yeah.
But you just don't talk to yourself.
No.
You got to have that conversation with yourself. Sometimes it takes having someone else to bring it to the forefront, but I still think I'm going to give that same advice. Talk to yourself. Remember that quote, the most important conversation you're going to have is the one you have with yourself. I'm going to keep repeating that again and again. I'm going to sound like a broken record. You must have that conversation with yourself. And I think it's important that people believe that it's possible.
Not have a fixed mindset, have a growth mindset.
So where are you at right now, before we go to the mailbag? I wanted to talk about your solo queue. We haven't really spoken about your solo queue much.
Yeah. I was on a pretty big... I thought things were clicking for me because I've been learning Elise and Rek'Sai.
So actually, before you get into that, I actually got a question recently. Someone saying, what do we focus on?
Yeah.
When we get better at the game, when we're at this level, and when you coach challenger players, it's very difficult to set like an active learning objective and being like, okay, we're going to be focusing on X, and just get better at this one thing. It's very rare that it's like that. A lot of the time, it's like, okay, I'm improving at skirmishing. I'm refining my. There are specific areas sometimes in rare cases, whether it's like camera panning or whether it's like your side lane awareness or whatever it is. But a lot of the time for me, it's like I'm just optimizing a wide variety of things with my champion specifically. Like I'm actually getting better at just winning a game with this champion. Or it's a mental thing. I want to end my learning objective is to play this game and use every single one of my lull states with like high intensity. Like me, it's like me versus myself from like a mental standpoint. For you, what are you like focusing on?
So let's see some really recent reviews, some examples. Because I'm playing, I have like all this, all this game knowledge, even, from Udyr and sometimes I'm struggling to apply because I'm messing up mechanically on like Elise and Rek'Sai. But what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to polish up. There's very little things that I'm doing in my gameplay that is having massive results in terms of fucking up the game. For example, I Herald bot this one game. And I had a feeling it was a bad idea. And my bot lane just didn't do anything with it because I heralded the bot. I broke the tower too early. You know when you like break a tower too early? Yeah. And because I should have just kept them in lane and kept scaling. And it's like little details like that. And that like lost me the game, right? It's just like tiny, like I'm trying to like...
you're getting better at winning the game.
Yeah, I'm getting better at winning the game. But when I'm like losing and stuff like that, I'm looking for just tiny little like this one error. I'm just looking for one error, essentially, that made the game get out of control.
So you're not really looking for... You're looking for a combination of missed opportunities / removing errors across the board in every area.
Oh, you know what? I would actually say my gameplay now, I actually don't really miss opportunities anymore. It's either misexecution or I had an intention to do something, but it was actually the wrong thing to do.
From the start, from the get-go?
No, from like middle of the game. It's like...
Your theory was wrong. Your hypothesis was wrong.
Hypothesis was wrong. Yeah. Oh yeah. So one thing specifically as well. I'm getting really specific here.
Yeah, I just want to know specific because what is it? I want to know what
I've
your
been
process is
experimenting.
like.
I don't actually know the answer to this right now, but what I've been doing is, as a Lease and Rek'Sai, I'm weighing up sometimes between win con and matching the enemy jungler so they don't get something on the other side of the map. Because I feel like at the moment now,
Right, I see what you mean.
you see what I mean? It's like I'm pathing
So
sometimes
do you
towards
ruin-
win condition,
Right.
and then the enemy can get to free full clear off, and then crab, and then I'm weighing up: is it better? Some games is it better, not others. Is the win con that important? Specifically, pathing towards top. Top's weird for me.
I find top's so weird right now. Do you know what top meta is? Like, I have no idea.
I don't really know. I see it. I have a variant in Soloq. It's just
It's just a shit show, right? I have no idea.
So I'm just experimenting with these very like early game pathing. I'm very obsessed in the early game. I mean, all my content, everyone knows, like I'm obsessed with game plans, early game and stuff like that, right? So that's what I'm obviously obsessed with.
So you have to weigh up, is ruining their game plan more important than doing my game plan?
That's right. And sometimes
That's so interesting.
It's hard. It's fucking hard,
Yeah, that's
dude.
specific.
I'm struggling. Like some games are just I fucking pop off, and then other games I fuck it up a little bit. But
yeah, that's so interesting. I never thought of it like that. That's like a really interesting concept. It's kind of like, it's like in soccer, right? You would have like an offensive formation where you'd have like more people in like the aggressive positions, or you would have overly deep more people in the defense, and use your defense and maybe get more possession in that way and kind of run it up the field. Like, so is beating their offense better than your offense beating their defense in a way?
Because sometimes what I've done is I have, you know, like Elise is amazing at like dive level 3, right? Let's say if I'm playing Elise into a Renekton lane, right? And you like dive top. It's like some games I'm like, well, what happens if I did the opposite? And then I was thinking, holy shit, maybe I actually don't do that this game, even though some games that's good.
Because they know you're going to do that.
Yeah, that's the thing as well, is that sometimes I'm too predictable, and in high elo, that's like a thing. But then there's another aspect of it where just do it, and there's nothing they can do about it as well. So
yeah,
I'm
that's
in
so
constant battle.
Because I remember last time you said like you overcomplicated things. You're saying how you thought that they knew what you were doing, but like in reality they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, so I'm battling with it.
That's fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's fucking hard it's hard. And again, what I'm doing is on some games I'm really, because these champs that you can't fuck up, dude. Like at least in Rex, if I'm playing against like especially like a Kane or the scaling jungles and stuff,
right? It's
such a great challenge, dude. I'm loving. I'm having a lot of fun playing League right now, even though like, I mean, I worked really well, and then one day, like, because I have a lot of, sometimes I struggle as well, like giving up once you I'm sort of
make one mistake, and then
I'm falling into that a little bit now.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm okay still, right? You know? So anyway, that's where I'm at with my solo queue. But I'm just experimenting.
Yeah, but to be honest, man, with me, like I've been able to play that much. I try to get a 3 block in a day. My 5, so I try to.
You've been pretty shit at that recently.
No, I did. Last week I did 4 because my Friday was too busy. I did 4 days of 3 blocks. So that's right. I'm only doing, what's that? It's like literally 12 games of nothing.
Week. Yeah.
But I'm going to start playing more on weekends now. But anyway, yeah, so I get secondary role a lot.
Yeah, you're a support mate.
And I had a crisis on my Discord, dude.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I lost all confidence playing Alistar. So Alistar was like my go-to secondary champ. And I just kept getting counterpicked.
Yeah.
And like I just and if you don't know the matchups in bot lane, on Alistar especially, you look like a fool.
You do. You're just like, you can intergame, dude.
You can just ruin a game.
Yeah.
Because you just get so underleveled. You just
Why are we talking about people picking like Morgana into?
Yeah, Morgana or like Senna and stuff, where like this kind of put me down.
Senna's a pain.
It's a pain in the ass, and like because if I don't know the matchups, how much damage we can do, you kind of just slowly lose and get like destroyed, and your AD carry just like flames you. And I'm like, and then
there's nothing worse in the game than playing Alistar, playing against a Senna, and you're getting poked on your tower,
and your jungle just goes topside, and I have this one window, and then I die to a gank, and it's just like, get me out of this game. And like, and then it plays on your mind, and you have this one opportunity to get back in the game, and you fuck up the combo, and you just get me out of this game completely. And that's like, I don't want to touch this champ.
Yeah,
because it's a combination of I don't play it enough.
Yeah,
I don't play bot lane enough to understand the matchup. So it's like I just want like a one size fits all shoe. That's what I want. I just want a champ, and I know what it is, but I keep telling myself not to play it. It was Bard.
Yeah, you're
I
beast
played a
at
shit
Bard,
ton of
dude.
Bard.
Yeah.
It's a one size fit all champion in any scenario. You can make it work. I should have just committed to Bard.
Yeah.
Thresh is another one. Thresh
Yeah.
can work, but Thresh requires a lot of time. But the thing is, I know I just got to commit to one of them. And I think what happened is that I did get on the Thresh bandwagon, and then again I had a shocking
Won a couple of games, and you're like, this. I
yeah,
can't
you
play
have
this
those
champ.
shocking games, and I fell into that trap. And I always tell people like you can't overemphasize the short term game. And I just doubt my confidence because you just play those shocking Thresh games. Have you ever played like a skill shot oriented champion in bot lane where you just
I just missed, Karma.
miss like a game winning skill
if
shot?
I mean, if you miss your first empowered Q as Karma,
lane, it's just-
I
yeah.
just end the review.
It's end of review, right? And
Yeah.
you just know you're losing the game for your team.
Yeah.
And it just boosts my confidence. I'm just like, so I had a bit of a mental breakdown. Like, so I remember I had like a block where I played like an Alistair game,
Yeah.
and then like a Thresh. No, then I said fuck it. No, this is what happened. I said fuck it. I'm gonna play Karma, and then I had the worst Karma
Oh, that's
game.
the worst. Oh, dude, this literally happened, dude. I was so pissed off. Okay, because I've been playing Elise and Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
I was sort of like, should I have Eve in my pool? A little bit. And I picked Eve, and then suddenly you're going to doing nothing in the early game, and I got so pissed off, dude.
Yeah,
I was like,
because you've gone from playing the
fuck
hyper
Eve.
early.
I'm like, fuck Eve. I hate this. The champion sucks, right?
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you over-exaggerate.
You
one
over-exaggerate
game.
one game because it just like happened to be not a good game for that champ, and they just happened.
That's right.
And I was just in the shit, dude. And then I played Bard. I started like, and I could see how I won with Bard, but I still played bad. I'm like, screw it, room for improvement. Just play Bard.
That's right.
So I had a bit of that's my recent crisis. So I think I kind of know what I need to do.
Well, at least you
now.
got your Discord to go to coach you through your mental booms.
Yeah, I was a bit just on the rocks there. And then I'm still learning and Silas. I'm actually pretty confident. I feel pretty good in my Silas.
Go to Silas I'm starting to think of banning it.
Yeah, it's out of control.
It's ridiculous.
But the fact that it didn't get nerfed was interesting to me on that recent patch. So I don't know why, but it's out of control. It's played basically every game. But yeah, in terms of my like learning objectives, mine is more around it's just laning, like matchup specifics, like getting into the details about what I can or can't do in a lane, and like really understanding the optimal strategy. Because the way it feels like in mid lane right now, and it's similar to your jungle, what you said, like there's multiple ways to play out that game. Like you can play that Elise Renekton game by going top and doing that strategy, or you
weak
can
siding it,
or weak siding it, or whatever. There's multiple ways you can play that exact same game out. Exact same in mid lane. You can play out a lane multiple differing ways, and I talk about like that's called lane pace. For example, like I could play out a lane really fast and aggressive. I could play it slow, and optimizing and figuring out what would be the best strategy in this specific game, given the champions, given their setup, is what I'm currently just getting better at over time.
Give me an example. Let's say if you had a weak early game jungler on your team, does that mean you would play slow or play fast?
Yeah, sometimes it means that like I would play slower. Yeah,
if you're against an Elise.
Well, then it gets again. It depends on a lot of. There's a lot of variables, dude. So it depends on the setup that they have.
Yeah.
It depends on your champion. How well does your champion do into their champion? In it's just kits. So like if you have a lot of mobility, sometimes you can just get away with it. And your setup as well. Sometimes you can't afford to play slow based off the setup that you've actually got, and you just got to rely on good quality warding and jungle tracking. So I would say that, and the worst feeling and the hardest thing as a mid laner is knowing that you have to play a lane a certain way, but the jungler just doesn't, like if you're using a Nunu, it's like, I just can't do that. So it's like a lose-lose scenario. I have to play aggressively to win this matchup. So I actually just have to slowly lose. I literally have to choose to lose. And that is it. So getting over that mentally, being like, I just have to lose this lane is very challenging sometimes.
Yeah.
Just because they have a Nunu.
Yeah.
Like I have to lose lane.
Yeah.
Or they have a Twitch. I just have to lose the early lane now.
Yeah.
And it's a pain in the ass. Stuff like that. Like getting and being okay with losing in a way. The early lane.
Yeah. Actually, that's another thing that I'm focusing on again to try and I'm trying to figure out what are creative ways to get back into the game when I'm even against a scaling team as Elise and Rek'Sai. It's like, let's say there's nothing that's happened in the early game.
Yep.
How do I get?
I did that a lot with
into the
Fizz
game?
when I played a lot of Fizz.
Oh, cool.
Same thing. And then that's where I created the whole There's other ways to play. You do this release. I play like Peel Fizz. So there's zoning ult. I'll do a zoning ult, and even though it does no damage, they still get scared and they shit themselves and they run away. So you can
Fizz one shots me.
You can split the fight a lot of the time. So same with the leash. You can still like peel with your cocoon, right? And maybe Rexo, you can probably there's ways to play your champion from behind and play around your win conditions.
Well, what Elise is really good at is and I literally won some games where I was like, holy shit, this works. We were like pretty far behind against a scaling comp. And I just kept getting picks in the silence by camping the brush.
Just cocoon.
And then just one shot, yeah.
Yeah, Elise is a very good champ. There's so many ways to win games with Elise, dude.
That's why it's so much fun, dude.
It's a blast, dude. That'd be awesome, dude. But yeah, I'm just kind of just like I wish I could play more. I really would. I'm gonna make an effort to try and play more because I love playing League, dude. I have so much fun. So much fun. You want to get into the mailbag?
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick jiffy, and then we'll be back in a jiffy. I said jiffy twice, but here we go. Welcome back for Nathan's mailbag. Jingle, jingle, jingle song. All right, everyone. First question here. The danger zone. You made a video about this, didn't you, Curtis?
Yep.
Hey Nathan, hey Curtis, I love the podcast and have been binging a bit recently, but that aside, I recently watched Curtis's video on the danger zone and what improvement looks like, which was really helpful because it made me realize the reason I was never improving in seasons past was because I was trying to improve at everything at once. And the concept of becoming worse and dropping in rank before you get better made a lot of sense, as it's what I'm currently experiencing, focusing on wave management. Well, anyways, I recently dropped to bronze. I'm back to silver now, and my friend said something that bothered me. He said, "Doesn't that mean you're just okay with losing?" My immediate response was that of course I am if it means I'm improving, but sitting on it, his words are starting to echo in my head. When I lose, I feel like I just don't get as frustrated anymore, and in-game, I'm not always trying to win as much as I am just focusing on my learning objective. Though I've finished gold the last 2 seasons, so getting bronze was a bit, well, demoralizing. So question for you two is it okay that I don't feel frustrated by losses anymore? Is the fact that I'm okay with losing possibly a negative? It also might be useful to know that this is my first foray into Season 11. I started 2 to 3 weeks ago and I play Silver 3. Thanks again. Sorry for the long email. The first thing that sticks out to me, I said it a couple of podcasts ago. I read out that caption from Kobe Bryant. Someone asking, like, the thing is like chasing the wins.
It's like, do you like winning more than you hate losing, or do you hate losing more than you love winning?
Yeah, and he said he thinks both are a weakness, and what he focuses on is the middle of loving to solve problems and learn and figure things out. That's where he found the middle ground for. Because he thinks both of them is a weakness.
It's the way we had that exact same thing in Direwolves, right? Yeah. Where it's like, are you okay with losing? It's just like that question is it's not a real question.
No.
They don't even want to hear the answer.
No.
Because they've already come into that question they already think that it doesn't matter what you say. And because at that point, you're just trying to prove something to someone else. It doesn't matter. So that question's irrelevant. Like if I got asked that question, it's like, I think you answered it as best as you possibly could. Yes, if it does, I don't mind losing if it means, losing is inevitable. It's part of the league experience. It's not like you're not gonna lose. So yes, I have a healthy relationship with losing. It's not that I enjoy losing. I try to avoid losing, obviously, but it's going to happen. I have a good relationship with it.
Yeah, it's like I get pissed off losing, but I understand that I have to look at it objectively in the review.
I can't get to where I want to be without it.
Yeah.
And I think that, look, it is a little bit complicated though because you do have to have those painful experiences and you do have to register that
as a painful experience.
You just do. Like you can't be okay, I lose and, la, la, la.
Oh, but it's okay. It's part of the process. It's like, well, you're really going to
that was frustrating.
Yeah.
Or that was a bit painful.
Let's figure it out and then let's let it go and then move on to the next one.
Exactly. So you do have to embrace it first though. So his question was, how do we deal with that? Or what was the question specifically?
He says, my question is it okay that I don't feel frustrated by losses anymore? Is the fact that I'm okay with losing possibility a negative? Do you ever say, I actually don't think I've ever said I'm okay with losing. Maybe we have said that once, but I'm not. Like, maybe I'm it's again, I'm understanding it's part of the process.
It's so dirty. It's so hard to talk about.
It is, isn't it?
It's hard to word.
Yeah.
Because, like, you are okay, but you're not okay at the same time.
Dude. Like, I lose 4 games as a least. I'm like...
Yeah, I'm pissed off when I lose.
I'm like, for fuck's sake, dude.
In a
Let's
weird
figure
way.
it out. I'm like...
But it's not pissed off in the sense that... It's a different type of pissed off. It's like you're more pissed off because it's getting in the way of your goal. But you're not pissed off because it's out of your control. A lot of the time it's just pissed off at yourself for your own performance.
So I could have played... It's like when you're playing with low intensity or something like that. You're like...
Again, to be honest with you, I actually don't feel pissed off when I play out of my mind and I lose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I'm stoked.
I actually just don't.
Yeah, I'm stoked with those
I would say
games.
most of my anger or frustration stems from playing disgusting League of Legends.
Yeah.
I messaged you the other day. I was saying how, like, I just love beautiful League of Legends. I just want to play beautiful League of Legends.
You know what it looks like.
And I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. And when I don't do that, I'm just disappointed in myself. That's the way what it really kind of just boils down to. So I would say, if you aren't feeling frustrated at all, even when you play poor League of Legends,
That's a problem.
or like low intensity, that is a problem. But if you're playing high intensity, you're trying your absolute best, you're getting into the process, that's fine. That's actually probably a sign that you have a healthy relationship with the game. But at the end of the day, if you're in bronze, you should having a blast at the end of the day, dude. You don't overcomplicate things at that level, at that rank. If you're coming with intensity, you're in a very basic review. If you choose to do a review, you're playing your 1 or 2 champions, and you know, obviously you're putting emphasis on your mistakes. That's all you need to do. So in a weird way, it's a bit of a balance.
Yeah, again, I think Kobe... you got to find that interview. I got to link it somewhere. Kobe Bryant interview. Talk about... Just type in Kobe Bryant, losing and winning or something like that.
Winning versus losing.
Yeah. I love this question, by the way.
Okay.
This is from Logan Walls. Hey guys, my name is Saint Logan. I'm an 80s C main and...
We get a lot of 80 carries, man.
We do, don't we?
Strange.
I still yet to do that poll on our YouTube to see what the...
Yeah, let's do it today.
I'll do it today. I'm currently working... so I'm an ADC main on an A. I'm currently working through Silver. I listen to BBC every Monday at work and pop into Nathan's Twitch chat to say something that makes me sound smart every now and again. Thanks for all the content. It's helped me a lot in my mental. I'm really curious to hear from a challenger jungler about leashing. That's why I love this question. Leashing happens in 99% of low elo games, but I really doubt anyone has any idea of the real benefits. I'm curious to know the specific details about leashing. What does it accomplish for the jungler? What does it do to the laner? In what circumstances does a really good jungler specifically ask for their laner to not leash? What does a good leash even look like? When should a laner leave? Basically wants to know everything about leashing. What would have to happen to the meta for leashing to do more harm than good? Yeah, I mean, in high elo, a leash could be in a review. Specific situations. A lane is that must like win lane. So hook champ laners, I love to get them in lane because I want them to have control, especially against range supports. Because whoever gets bush control in bot, it's pretty bad. So let's say, for example, a Thresh into Nami. I want my Thresh to start in lane. But I'm also weighing up as well, is like, what champion am I playing? Some champions are so shit, they need a leash. And then also, what's the enemy jungler pathing look like? And is my win condition on the other side of the map more important? You know, so there's all these factors. It's really complicated. So like your situation where you talked about the way you're going to play slow or fast. The other thing for leashing as well is, so like Jace, like if you get a Jace to leash, like holy shit, basically you don't want them to leash if they feel like they have to win the matchup. And then it also coincides as well. Usually you're pathing towards that laner anyway. So sometimes it coincides. where it doesn't matter if you get a leash on that side because you're pathing to someone who you don't want to leash anyway, because theoretically you want to path to a lane that wins.
So I remember we lost a game at MSI because our bot lane leashed.
Yeah, there you go. Bot lane. It's more about bot lane. Bot lane more so than top.
specifically.
Some specific situations top.
Our bot lane literally, I remember, like came out of like the game, like we lost because we had to leash.
Leash, yeah.
It's like, all right, and let's go, next game at MSI.
That's right. But it's true. In
true.
high elo, it is true, and you have to consider it a lot. And in my Diamond Plus reviews, so low elo, stop. Okay, in silver gold, don't.
You should always
matter.
leash.
You should always get
always
a leash.
leash.
Yeah, because they won't play the lane properly and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But in high elo, I do end the reviews based on a leash. That's as crazy as
It's
it is.
interesting, yeah.
But it is for a jungler, and I've ended reviews for myself. I'm like, fuck, because you just look at the way the lane plays. I'm like, oh, dude, I actually,
and
I've won games as well. So I've won countless games from not letting my lane unleash as well. By the way,
yeah, I can see that 100%. Dude, the way you're talking about it reminds me a lot about how like I'll look at a review, maybe whether it's my own game or someone else's game, and I'm like, the way this levels 1 to 4 is played out, you're in such a different situation that you would have been in that it's just not like you're just in a losing position when you should be in a winning position. And this has a ripple effect for the entire game.
That's right.
So sometimes off those first 3 waves, like especially these melee matchups, if you're playing Fizz and you take too much damage like off the first 2 waves, it's just end of review because
right.
you can't play off the bounce wave. And if you can't play off the bounce wave, you never get a good reset. Then you lose more farm. Or you can't play the scuttle fight. It's your champ doesn't have an identity. Just off like the first 2 levels, you can literally end a review. Because people, I think, what we struggle to articulate, Nathan, is not just what happened as a result of this. It's what the missed opportunities would have been. That's what it is. Simply boiled down.
I really try to try and highlight that. It's like, these are all the opportunities you miss. But it is, we do struggle with it.
No, because Nathan, the reason why that means a lot to us is because we've seen those situations play out.
And we've also...
If you haven't seen them play out, it doesn't make sense.
No, you don't understand the significance of
No.
it. But also, so it's like, I've seen winning games from not leash, so I know it works.
You know it works, right?
And then I have... oh, yeah, that's actually the interesting thing here. I had actually someone come to my Twitch chat asking... You know, I get a question a lot. How do you learn win conditions and stuff like that, right? You know, I haven't watched any content.
You know, I did an article on it.
Really?
Literally a few days ago, not that long ago. I've always been afraid to do it. I did an article on it. And the way I approached it was actually, I looked at the, I boiled down the variables that you need to consider for a win condition.
Yeah, I've done that as well. I've got an article on that and stuff. There's questions to ask.
Yeah, questions to ask. And, you know, I look at the variables. So, like, how heavy trading is the matchup, how snowball is in the matchup, or things that you can look for, stuff like that. But making a video on it is really hard.
You jumped in there, Gers. What I was trying to get a point across is that the way that I learned this, and I want to get this mindset, the problem solving mindset, I figured it out. I never learnt this from watching anyone else. I only just looked at my own games, and then I looked at, oh, okay, interesting. Look at the way bot lane played out Thresh into Nami because I got them to leash. What happens if they don't do a leash next game? Interesting. They just dominate that lane. It's like, what am I learning here? I figured all this shit out myself, man. You know, and you can as well. Obviously, you know, coaching, like I can help you accelerate that learning process, right? But yeah, like,
it's the mindset.
It's the mindset.
Yeah,
like,
I totally
it's
agree.
so important, man, because I have not, like, I can literally tell you right now, like, I mean, even in Dire Wars, like, it's not like I talked with the junglers at all.
No.
Like, I was basically not playing the game for like
But it's
3-4
getting them
years.
to think. It's getting them to think. It's like, that's why we always say, you got to have a hypothesis. And if you don't have a hypothesis, then you're not learning.
Yeah.
Because how do you complete the learning cycle? There's no theory to be tested.
No.
Because that's why dueling is toxic, because you're just following someone else's call. And if you're not making the call, then you're not really getting anywhere. You must learn by doing. You must learn by making your own decisions.
So yeah, there's definitely lots of factors there, and I can't just make an articles
About
like a list specifically of every matchup that you don't leash. There's too many factors. There's millions of combos.
But I think you covered. I definitely think, Nathan, you covered a lot of the variables. There,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's a lot of the variables. Yeah, those are the variables, but I can't get like a specific spreadsheet saying in this matchup, you know, because there's millions,
Be
right?
there forever.
All right. We'll wrap up with another jungle question.
Okay.
Hi, boys. My name is Eridano. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And I've got a question for Nathan regarding jungle. I'm a main jungler since forever. Never really played consistently. I mean daily until a year ago and always floated around gold, silver. In the last year, I managed to climb to plat easily with a pretty good win rate. I hate that you have to mention that, by the way. I couldn't care less.
With the win rate?
Yeah.
Yeah, the win rate.
I would. It's weird how people mention that, you know? Like,
What's interesting, because if they said if I climbed to plat over a lot of games with a bad win rate, I would think they're a better player.
yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I would think you're a better player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we have a back, people have a back with. I think if you get there with a really good win rate, it means you're a great
You're a
player.
talented player and stuff like
I would
that.
much rather someone with 1,000 games with a 51% win rate than someone who has 150 games and a 62% win rate.
Now, lately, I'm finding great success with Volibear jungle. I think because I've got good map awareness, good pathing, and good jungle fundamentals. I also play a bit of Skarner, Nunu, Hecarim with good results. My problem is that whenever I switch to mechanic-intensive champs, let's say Lee Sin, Talia, Kindred, my map crumbles because I'm more focused on the champion execution rather than map control. So what happens is that after some games with the champ, I get some of the mechanics, but my general gameplay gets bad habits like not checking minimap that often, not tracking the enemy jungler. How can I improve on that? Do I have to spam hundreds of games on the single champions just to get the mechanics, or is there another way? Like maybe play them in lane and kind of ignoring the map. Lately, I'm thinking I'm just bad at mechanics and there's no way for me to improve there, so I just stick to my Volibear 64% win rate in 80 games. So, Mr. Eridano, you've answered the question yourself. It's exactly what you need to do, because going to the mental stack we've talked about in this podcast before, you don't have champion master on these champions. They are more mechanically intensive, so you're going to suffer jungle tracking map awareness because you need to focus on clearing your jungle camps and moving around the map. So you've basically answered your question
Nathan,
here.
but I want to play devil's advocate here. Do you even think that this guy should play mechanically intensive champion? Like, have you ever thought about that? Because with my mid lane clients right now, I've shifted my theory on like having a diversified champ pool. Like if you only play mages, a lot of the time, especially if they don't have that much time to play the game, I just tell them to stick with it. Like if you don't know how to play a mechanically intensive champion, you don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't actually need to. I've got one guy who's in Grandmaster in EU, and he plays Pantheon I think he plays like Pantheon and Galio. Now he plays a bit of Yone, I think, but I've got another guy in NA who plays Galio. But he became very good at those champions and actually improved his micro with those champions. Like you don't need to learn. You can
improve your micro.
You can still improve your micro with these champions that aren't quote unquote like this guy Tim
I like that.
with Pantheon. Like he has incredible micro, but it's with Pantheon. It wouldn't be what you would think. You know, it's not like Zed or Akali or anything.
Flashy like plays and.
So what I'm saying is like, people like do you believe that people need to do that? Like, why would they need to like?
If you're becoming a pro player, yes, but I'll say for the majority of the player base, no. Unless you want to really challenge, like if you're chilling, you're enjoying playing Volibear and stuff. You know, you talk about your.
He has an identity, dude.
Yeah, you have your identity. Get high elo, which will help make you a better player because you'll be playing against better players and you'll be actually learn mechanics better in a way because you're understanding what people can do. And then you can maybe switch to these champs, but don't worry about it at all.
Like, I feel it's just people overcomplicate it. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't need to, especially at his level, dude, at like gold or plat, like,
Yeah.
have an identity and own it. Like, people feel as though you need to play both.
Because then people view it as like, oh, you just
Because I push this forward. I'm going backwards on it now. And I thought, like, yes, best case scenario, you would be able to play assassins and mages. And that would make you a better player, and you would be a much better solo queue player and probably have more success in solo queue in the long run. But for the large majority of people, they don't have the time to do that. It takes a lot of time. You have to play hundreds of games with those champions.
Yeah.
And improving micro as a jungler, it's way harder. It's going to be even more, hundreds and hundreds of games.
Because you're not mechanically playing all the time.
No,
Yeah.
like mid lane, you
Not
can
fighting
actually
all the time.
you can fight. You're laning 24. It's all
Yeah.
you focus on. You can do
Yeah.
1v1s, just focus on your micro. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a part of me is like, why do that? And if he's a young kid, has a lot of time, and he wants to get high, sure, but you're going to go backwards in rank, at least for the immediate future.
Yeah, so it's whether you're up to the challenge or not. But I mean, it makes perfect sense. I mean, there's no way around.
There's no way around it.
There's no way around having bad map awareness and jungle tracking because you have to focus on mechanics and stuff.
He needs to watch my Learning Champions video though, because if you only play Talia, right? Let's say he wants to like learn Talia. If he doesn't also play at the same time Volibear and his main champs, he will lose so much confidence that you're going to be in a dark. You actually get worse, even on your main champs, because you actually forget about the game and your confidence will be in the shit. So you should do a block of Talia and a block of Volibear or whatever.
I like
it
that.
is.
Yeah. So a little bit of you sprinkle in a little bit of Kindred as well as playing your Talia or
wherever it is.
Leashing with your Volibear. But just accept it's just part of the.
Isn't that like a big champ pool though for Plat? Like, how many champs do you recommend Plat usually, Nathan? Like for me, I would say max 3.
3, yeah, always 3, yeah. Max 3.
Yeah.
All right, anything else for that one for Mr. Eridano?
I think you nailed it.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Broken by Concept podcast. Hope we all enjoyed it. On a side note, we've got our Broken by Concept book club.
Yeah, our first meeting tonight, dude. I'm excited.
Our first meeting, get to know the community, get to know everyone.
Excited, dude. And that was a banger of a book. And
Yeah,
for
it was
those of you who
excellent
don't want to join the book club or whatever, that's fine. But I do recommend, if you do get a chance, read that book, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins anyway. It doesn't have to be part of the book club. When you have your own time, free time, go ahead and read it. I cannot recommend it enough.
Recommendation, yeah.
Cannot recommend it enough.
I love that the challenges in it are so good for you to do. You can like engage in the book
Legit.
as well and get involved.
It's a very practical book.
I think so. See you guys later.